right. Is he playing with fire? Is Jimmy Kimmel essentially writing off some Republican watchers of his show who love his comedy, love him personally, but don't like the fact that his politics is getting in the way of them liking him? To Federalist staff writer Bre Payton, independent radio show host Ethan Bearman, Media Research Center President Brent Bozell. Brent, what he is more or less saying there is, I'd hate to lose you, but if I'm going to lose you, goodbye. What do you think of that?
Well, listen to the constituency that he's going after. He's not talking to the public. He's talking to Hollywood. This is what Hollywood wants, and he's delivering. I think it's a huge mistake. Initially, in a bifurcated society, it's going to be fine because the left will go to him because, you know, for hero worship purposes. But it won't last. Just ask the Dixie Chicks how well that worked against George Bush. It won't last, and he's going to hurt. Look, 50% of the country's with Trump. I mean, this is a no-brainer.
You know, Bre, I look at it, though, and I think all of these late-night hosts have been richly rewarded for bashing Donald Trump, right? And I'm wondering, there's got to be a market out there for some late-night comedian to at least balance it out. But apparently that's not the case. Now, maybe it is good for good laughs, and other talk show hosts in the past have gone after presidents, no matter who they are. It just seems so wildly one way now. But what are your thoughts on all of this and what Kimmel is saying?
Yeah, I think we also need to talk about the fact that Jimmy Kimmel is a dumb sock puppet for Democrats. When he criticized the Republican health care plan, he did so with talking points from the Schumer office, and he coordinated with them in order to put together, you know, and laud these criticisms and bragged about it later. So I think we need to acknowledge the fact that, you know, he's not coming up necessarily with his own ideas or his own criticisms of things that are happening on the right, but he is asking the left, hey, can you make me a stooge and make me, you know, your little sock puppet? And the left is apparently more than happy to do so. I also think that we only need to look to ESPN to see what happens when someone goes overtly political. I mean, they've been hemorrhaging viewers and laying off people left and right because they are turning more and more political. And I do think you're right in that, you know, there are every single late night talk show host, every single late night show, Saturday Night Live included, you know, is going after Donald Trump in every single episode. And I think, you know, maybe if they held it back and only did it every 4 or 5 episodes, that would be appreciated for a healthy portion of the country that wants to tune in and watch something.
Just a little bit of balance. And Ethan, I don't mind if you're going to go after the president. I'd say that's fair game. He is the most powerful man on earth. That comes with the title in the office. But I don't even see anything approaching balance on it. And even if it were, you know, 3 negative stories on Trump and 1 negative on a prominent Democrat, maybe. But what do you make of it?
Yeah, well, I think that we have to get our facts straight here. Jimmy Fallon had the highest ratings before the election because he was being relatively non-political. Jimmy Fallon has the lowest late-night ratings right now after the election because he's not going political.
You're right about it. No, there's no denying it. You're following the ratings gravy, and that is a consistent pattern here.
Yeah, and on top of it all, let's be clear. I mean, late-night ratings are on a long-term downward trend. So when, you know, my fellow panelists wanted to say end of the earth type stuff, now there's a long-term trend that's happening here. But let's be clear. Artists throughout human history go after people in power. They actually went after Obama, too. Saturday Night Live made fun of him regularly.
Nothing like this.
And we're not talking about that.
I think you'd have to admit nothing like this, and nothing like the disproportionate attacks. Maybe they're in some people's eyes coming, but nothing like this.
But look,
we've never had a president.
Look, the Center for Media and Public Affairs. Good.
Ethan,
yeah, we've never had a president like President Trump saying such strong things about people. Mexicans are racist, talking about black people. I mean, on and on. We've never had a president.
All right, fair enough. So, Brent, what do you think of that? He has it coming.
Americans.
He has made it. He has sort of set this up himself. What do you make of that?
Well, sure, you're going to always go after an incumbent. That's fine. But the Center for Media and Public Affairs did a study looking at the first 100 days. 1,535 jokes on late-night television against Donald Trump and his family, 95 against the entire Democratic Party. It's not even close. But to your friend who says, well, look at the downward trends, look at the downward trends, this sounds like the excuse the NFL is giving for their ratings. It's the same thing going on over there with this constant left-wing political correctness. Right. Their ratings are down 18% from 2 years ago, and they're going to say downward trends.